Today we have a very smart, a very successful serial entrepreneur, Briar Prestidge. She's joining us, and she's one of those amazing young people who is doing so many things. And Briar is a CEO of Deals in High Heels, which is a networking group, and she's also Briar Prestidge International. She's CEO there. Briar, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone.
Briar, what's your story?
So yeah, I've got quite an interesting career background, I guess. So I originally grew up on a very small farm in New Zealand, very close to the mountains. Has anyone ever been to New Zealand before? No? Oh, you? No? One day. One day, yeah. So I was growing up on a farm in New Zealand, and I think it was very difficult to see outside my farm. You know, I never envisioned moving out of the country, and you know, it's very much that small town mentality I had. It wasn't until I finished university, so I graduated with a Bachelor of Speech and Language Pathology, that I moved to Australia. And I think sometimes, you know, when you are feeling a bit depressed, when you're feeling a bit stuck in your life, you're not too sure what you're going to do, that's when you make the best decisions. I don't know if any of you have ever had those experiences before. So I decided to move to New York City. And it wasn't until that moment, when I was kind of pulling my bag through the busy streets of Manhattan, I didn't know anybody in the world there, that I kind of realized that with some hard work and some guts, that I could literally do anything with my life. So from there, I started working in real estate and sales. Following on from that, I then moved to London, and I worked as a recruitment consultant, where I learned all about business development, cold calling, all of that good stuff. And then I decided to start a side hustle on the side, which was my marketing agency and also Deals in High Heels. So I moved to Dubai, and that's really where I started to see the opportunities. And I think it's so important. I know that some of the speakers before mentioned it, but you should always be looking into what the market's wanting and what it's asking for. And because of that, that's how we started Deals in High Heels, which is our networking group, which you said, and also Briar Prestidge International. So we are a reputation, marketing, and branding agency. So we are operating here in Dubai and also London and New York as well.
If we just project you into the future, let's say into 2035, 2040.
Okay.
What would you be doing? What have you done in the next 20 years?
So I think 20 years, it seems like a very long time away. I guess for me, you know, I'm very much wanting to open new offices all around the world. I'm one of those people, I can't sit still, I think. I find it very tricky to stay in one place. So I definitely will have a few companies. We're just starting a fashion label as well at the moment. But yeah, I guess just always listening to what the market's looking for and how I can build my companies out around this community that I've already built for myself.
I was reading a Guardian study where they did a very, very detailed survey, and they said that there were two specific things that women absolutely excelled at, and they have a complete lead. And one is collaboration, and the other is communication. Some of the softer skills and all the elements around that. And then they were talking about building the future of different stages, women at different stages in their lives, from 0 to about 35, from 35 to 60, and from 60 to 100. Because you are probably going to live beyond 100. So you've got a long, long time to go. So you would literally need to break your time in your life in 3-4 segments.
Sure.
So when you look at technology and you look at all the shifts and so on, how do you, as a young, successful entrepreneur, see the future for women?
I think the future is incredibly exciting. I was just watching the Elon Musk interview on the weekend with Joe Rogan. I don't know if anyone saw that, where he's talking about AI and connecting the brain with the internet, and that to me sounded weird and also wonderful at the same time. And I think it's so amazing to think that we might all be incredibly smart, we might all have access to all of this information with just the quick thought, right? But how will we process that? And that's really where, you know, I was so glad empathy and also communication came on board before, but collaboration is incredibly important.
You know, in the transformation decade, as we go through this decade, what it's doing is democratizing knowledge, democratizing information, and the robots are going to be working hard for us and doing all the physical work. So basically what we end up doing is in terms of women's emancipation and gender diversity and gender balance, all of these things will just be a very, very natural thing. Do you feel that technology is getting us there fast enough, or do we need lots and lots of policy issues and behavioral shifts and change?
I know that for some of my contacts who work in corporate, it really is, they really do see that sort of gender, and perhaps there's a few more sort of controversies in there. I think, you know, what I'm really passionate about is, and the reason why I started Deals in High Heels is just, you know, we've all got so much to learn from each other. And I think if we're all communicating, if you teach me things that you know and I teach you what you know, then I really all do think we can grow as a collective. And just having, as a woman, I feel as well, a support network, you know, especially in Dubai where we've all moved here from overseas, you know, we're all away from friends and family. I just think having a bit more of a community and people that you can go to if you ever need business advice or information is really important.
Going to Deals in High Heels then, are you guys actually doing deals, or is it really much more of a networking thing?
We're doing deals, we're wearing heels. Yeah, so exactly right. So we've just launched our memberships program recently with the idea that, you know, it's by members for members. So we really want to encourage, you know, to be offering people in the group discounts and showcasing what you do and your expertise. But each time we meet, you know, we have a new speaker on board that will speak about strategy or career mentality or something like that. And, you know, it's a really good opportunity for us to all grow as an individual.
Looking at the softer side again, because, you know, as I said, you will live to 100 years, and so you've got a long, long time to go.
Yeah.
And we are now living in phases and ebb and flow in our lives. And a lot of our personal skills, integrity, trust, all of those things, and a lot of skills that women have even better than most men, which is intuition and collaboration and stuff. How do you think women need to start developing and learning and training themselves to really excel in the future? They're already doing so, but even more so.
I think for me, and something that I always really struggled with was, you know, sales when I first started, or, you know, speaking and having an opinion about something was something that I really struggled with when I started my career, but it's all practice at the end of the day. And I think I was very fortunate to have a manager at the time that really pushed and encouraged me to practice sharing my voice, because it really is hard when you first start. It's like with anything. A lot of the digital work that we do online, I work with very, very credible leaders across the board. You know, we've got a high-profile business strategist we work with, high-profile business coaches, but even when they're starting to share their voice online, it's almost like they're back at the start of their career. You know, they're a little bit shy, they don't really know what to say, that sort of thing. So I just would always really encourage people just to constantly be sort of pushing that comfort zone and sort of pushing outside your comfort zone, because at the end of the day, you know, that's the kind of area where you're really going to grow. And always be getting feedback from people as well, and just tweaking what you do slightly. I'm a big fan of Coursera as well. Has anyone ever heard of Coursera? Basically, you can do online papers from different universities all around the world for a very cheap price. It's like $50 or something. So I'm started to do a paper on negotiation, and I think just as a woman constantly learning things like sales or maybe like NLP or negotiation, I think those are all important strategies that you can use in your career and
things
in your life.
Things that you don't learn at business school, generally speaking.
Exactly right, or exactly.
Stepping back, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self?
Oh my goodness. I think it was one of those things at school. You know, I used to work so hard, and the curriculum is so structured, and you're stressing about maths and all of these things that don't even matter really anymore, do they? So I think I would have told myself to chill out and just to go with the flow of the, you know, because you just never know what's going to happen. I think that's important, because we always put so much pressure on ourselves to be, you know, to have the best job or the best car or to find the perfect person. Really, at the end of the day, as if we just woke up in the morning, wrote our to-do list, executed it, you know, did some yoga or went to the gym sort of thing and just lived our lives, I think we would be a lot happier in general.
You have a personal branding agency. How important is personal branding in today's world? Not just to wear, you know, high heels and smart clothes, but
absolutely.
What is personal branding?
So I'm a huge advocate for this. So personal branding is when you when you showcase your expertise in a very credible but also authentic way, when you're building relationships with the right people, when you're collaborating with people as well, when you're reaching your target market essentially that you want to reach. So we do obviously a lot of offline, but a huge thing of personal branding these days is online as well, whether we like it or not, right? Our online brand almost seems to make up 50% of our brand. So it's really, and just back to, I know that you showcase the industries that have almost been disrupted recently, and publishing is a huge industry which is going through perhaps a bit of a difficult patch at the moment. But if you've got a brand that someone like the publishing company can leverage, then they're a lot more likely to collaborate with you. So if you're actually out there and you're proactively driving your brand, you're creating content that showcases what you know, but also appeals to your target audience, you're letting people in on your insecurities, you're letting people learn about your experiences, and you're teaching something. So all of your content should be to give value. So you either want to entertain, inspire, or educate people with all the content that you're creating. But you need to do it in a way that's above the noise. I just want to be very clear on that.
Isn't this extremely narcissistic? Isn't it self-absorbed? Isn't it like I'm just measuring myself by the number of likes I get, and if I don't get enough likes, I'm really depressed, and this is happening. A few people are successful and they'll do really well, but what about the vast majority of the people who are just decent, average, hardworking, good people who may not have all of that brand positioning and so on that you do? How do you manage that? How do you manage a normal person? Forget the stars. How do you manage a normal person?
So I'm really glad that you brought this up, because it is a huge deal, right? I've had clients that have said to me, prior to us working together, because I always like to maintain a bit of healthy mentality when it comes to stuff like this. But I've had people who have said to me that the first time they went viral to a certain extent, they were just watching and obsessing over the amount of likes that they got, right? But you don't have to have a significant following. You don't have to have likes or anything like that. The important part is that you've got this online and offline approach. Like, you can't be online being all narcissistic, like what you say, and I'm this, and then in real life people meet you and you're completely different, right? It doesn't really work like that. So it's really important that you are investing in things like your lifelong learning, for instance. You're upskilling, you're meeting the right people, you're out at networking groups, and just as well, you're leveraging relationships and you're collaborating. So for Deals on High Heels, for instance, obviously it's an event that I hold, but the whole mentality is about collaboration, bringing other people on board to share their expertise. So when you're collaborating, I think it's a really good way to grow your brand.
So are you one of those scary people that, you go in and meet somebody and you're just sizing them up, bad suit, wrong eyelashes, wrong suit, wrong this, shoes don't work, crappy this. I mean, exactly. You're doing that, and I can work this. Is that how you see things? I mean, I hope not. Is that what you do?
Not at all. I really
you're not
don't.
Scary like that.
I'm not scary at all. Not
Okay.
at all. And I hope you guys do understand that it is, it's not about me or anything like that. It really is about giving value to people. And it's really important. Again, don't go home and start posting on Facebook like 3 times a day, or posting on Instagram 3 times a day, or anything crazy like that. It's really important that you've got a very holistic approach with how you're growing your brand.
My final question.
Yep.
You're still a very young person. Which one of these degrees were you going to do in the future?
Ooh.
Anthropology, environmental, bioethicist, social entrepreneur, athlete. And there's a reason for this, because these are all soft degrees. There are different kinds of degrees that we normally do.
Sure.
And we're going to be moving into the education side first. What do you think? Which one would you do?
So I think in the next few years, I'd really like to start a charity somewhere and really get involved in learning and education. So that's really, I think, my next big goal.
Okay. And your final comment in terms of the future of women, what are your thoughts, any takeaways that they should be inspired? Because you're a role model, and
Thank you.
inspire us.
Thank you. So I think, just continually learn, ask people all the time for their opinion, their expertise. I just think we've got so much to learn from each other at the end of the day, don't we?
Great. Briar, thank you very much indeed.
So
thank
much.
you for being so candid and open. Big hand for Briar.